This morning, more hair was on fire than the forests of California.
This was the most chaotic presidential debate I've ever seen.
That was a hot mess inside a dumpster fire, inside a train wreck. That was the worst debate I have ever seen.
That was It was a complete disaster.
That was the worst presidential debate I have ever seen in my life.
This felt like an assault. It felt like an assault on our senses. It felt like an assault on our presidential campaign process. We've got 2 minutes. Forget that. I'm talking over you. Neener.
Oh, boy. My response, what did you expect from the media or the debate? If you were hoping for Lincoln Douglas, you deserved Lincoln Logs. But the media is just performing to script, reacting as if Trump carpet-bombed Canada because he wouldn't play nice to Joe the way they do, and because Joe seems so overwhelmed. But this is what they do anytime Trump engages his base. Remember, the only thing the media hates more than Trump is Trump's base. But I had it worse. I had to watch the debate with Jasper. Yeah, while Dana was partying in Ohio, I had 90 pounds of dog rubbing up against my hip.
And you loved it.
I did. But I thought it was a great evening.
But I thought it was a great evening. It was an exciting evening. By every measure, we won the debate easily last night. I think he was very weak. He looked weak. He was whining. I don't mind debating him. I hear he wants to get out of the debates. I don't know. That's up to him.
Here's why last night was so odd. In a formal debate, the topic isn't the debaters themselves. It's a topic like nuclear power, peace in the Middle East, or should Jesse lose the hairpiece. No. But last night, Biden skipped all of his big plans and made Trump the sole topic, that he's a very bad man, a racist, maybe a killer. All personal, no policy. That soothed his base, but winning no converts, which led to this.
Because you weren't president screwing things up.
You were a senator. And
You're
by
the
way,
worst
you were
president America has ever had.
Hey,
Come
Joe,
on.
the question is, Justice, radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, you would have lost every primary.
All he knows how to
on
do is
Super
hurt.
Tuesday. You got
Look,
very lucky.
here's the deal.
Yeah, there's nothing smart about you, Joe.
It's hard to get any word in with this clown.
Trump interrupted because letting Joe finish was letting him villainize him. So Trump looks rude, but what were his choices? There was no room for rebuttal. And with this structure, no rebut, you interrupt. So Trump interrupted more and was scolded for it, as if Joe was talking about lofty issues when he was just slinging mud. Now we see the enabling media circling the wagons around Joe.
I don't think the country's going to be yearning for another one of these. I think that Biden has a decision to make.
There should be a penalty for the flouting of the rules. And if Trump doesn't want to agree to that, then we don't have to have any more debates.
We can't do two more of these. The election is far too important. This decision in this year is too important to do that two more times.
Oh, my word. Weird that the media wants less information, less transparency, fewer debates. Why would they deprive America of that? What does that tell you? That they truly do have a dog in this race, and it ain't Jasper. It's a mutt that they fear isn't going to make it to the finish line. Yeah, to work Jasper in there. All right, I want to go to Jesse first, because you told me, like a lot of people, they watched it twice.
I did. I watched it again on YouTube this morning in a calmer, more peaceful setting. And it's a lot different. Trump crushed him on the rewatch. He wasn't as rude as a lot of people were saying. And Joe Biden's job was to defend himself, and he didn't do a very good job of that. These guys were on a collision course for over a year. We expected a spectacle, so I don't know why everybody's acting like this was that big of a deal. Joe Biden does not have the mental acuity or the verbal tenacity to stand in the ring and throw punches with Donald Trump. He was very defensive last night. He was constantly being interrupted. And I counted the punches. Trump threw more punches. He landed more punches. And if Joe the entire time is just saying, that's wrong, that didn't happen, that's not true, that's not debating, that's just denying. And if the media is out there the next day saying we should cancel the rest of the debates, that means Joe Biden lost. And the Democrats don't think Joe Biden won, because I got a lot of texts from Mom. And trust me, Joe Biden did not win that debate. Joe Biden did not look like he had any color in his face, in his hair. His mouth hung agape most of the time and seemed exasperated to me. If Donald Trump would do one thing better, this would be my advice. You know, when you throw a punch, come back and just pause for a beat or two. let it marinate. Because the one time he said, hey, can you name one law enforcement group that actually endorsed you? Just sit there, take a moment, let it breathe, because those moments you really have to accentuate, because those are pretty devastating. Joe, I thought, failed the leadership test on a number of issues. He was asked, did you ever call the leaders of Portland and say, hey, can you guys knock off the rioting for 3 months? He never even called them. He said Antifa was an idea. I've never seen an idea light so many fires.
True.
And then when he was saying, you know, you had the Chinese, you have the Russians and Ukrainian billionaires sending loads of money to your family, he couldn't even explain why that was happening. So the president went out and was very strong when he actually asked Joe a direct question. Joe could not answer a direct question from the moderator or from the president. And he was very strong on law and order and on the economy.
So, Dana, did you watch it twice?
I watched it once live, and I listened to it this morning. again.
Oh, so that's got to be different.
It was different. I'm not going to say that it was necessarily better on the second time around, although I was more comfy. And Jasper, I got to listen to it with Jasper this morning.
There you go.
I agree with you, Jesse. The worst thing that you can do for Joe Biden is to give him the floor. And President Trump never let him have the floor.
Yeah, especially with the Green New Deal thing. He could have let him.
So the other thing is, I was reading a lot of it today as well. That if you read some of President Trump's lines, they're very good. His stuff on the environment was excellent.
Yeah,
Law and Order, of course, was very good. He had that line that I've done more in 47 months and you've done in 47 years. But I got to tell you, remember when we first started the 5 and we got in trouble because we were always talking all at once?
Yes.
And so when you listen to it, it's very hard. And here's the other thing. President Trump's voice carries. It penetrates. It is much more powerful than Joe Biden's. So whenever President Trump was interjecting, it was coming through more than, if you listen, Joe Biden is trying to get in there as well.
Right.
But it's not penetrating.
Because he's weak.
So that's one thing that I would do as well. I would say that they should, well, I'm not saying that, but anyway.
I agree with you, Dana. He's very weak.
If you look at the written lines, it's good, but that's not what happened. Right? So we have that debate. There are going to be more debates. I'm looking forward to Pence and Kamala Harris. Those are two very different styles than what you saw last night, and that will happen next Wednesday.
Yeah. Juan, do you think there's going to be another debate?
What's the thing about it? Joe Biden said today, he'll always take the opportunity to speak to the American people. He looks forward to the platform. I think that's a lot of media, we need content. Let's create something, because it was such an awful debate. I mean, I'm listening to you guys, and I am like, you want to focus on the media? You want to focus on Joe Biden?
Yes.
What about the awful, rude, crude behavior and lies told by Donald Trump? I mean, let's look at the president's own words. Asked a simple question. Brian Kilmeade said this was a layup. Condemn white supremacy, Mr. President. And what did he say? He felt it. He couldn't make the layup. You know what he said instead?
Sure.
He said, you know what? I'm not sure. What's this Proud Boys thing?
No, he said sure.
And then he says, let me finish. No, here's the quote. Stand back, stand by. It was so effective that the Proud Boys today have made memes, logos, T-shirts. So the white supremacists got it. Now Trump came back today. He tried a half-hearted cleanup. This is after a day. He's trying a half-hearted cleanup on the way to the helicopter. And he says, well, sort of. I don't want to support this.
I love how you paraphrase him. Why don't you read
here's
the quotes?
reality. Senator McConnell, Senator Scott, his big allies, every Republican running for Senate in this country has been on the defensive all day trying to deal with the fact that the President of the United States closed his eyes and winked at white supremacy
that is your
in this country.
misrepresentation.
And one last thing to you. One last thing. You know how you always say, people didn't understand what he said about fine people on both sides in Charlottesville?
Yeah,
well, I think now, after last night, there's no question. White supremacists understand that he embraced them and continues to embrace white supremacy
Juan, if
in this
that's all
country.
you have after the debate, that's not much.
Oh, yeah, let me tell you.
That's not much, Juan.
What's not much is that you sit there and say, oh, you know what? President Trump was so
Juan, that's
effective.
fake.
This is
No one even knows
unbelievable.
who the Proud Boys are, Juan.
Oh, yeah.
Kennedy, last word to you. Did you like it or did you love it?
I loved it. Maybe for a different reason.
Yeah.
I loved it because I thought it was a great billboard for why we need multiple parties in this country, because that's what you end up with. I thought both of them were all over the place. I thought the president was very undisciplined. I think he'll watch that. And I think you're right. Some of the asides were really funny. When Joe Biden said, I am the Democrat Party, and the president said, not according to Harris. Lines like that are great, peppered throughout.
Right.
But he really should have let Joe Biden answer about packing the court and who is on his SCOTUS shortlist, because those are critical questions.
Yeah.
And it's a very Pelosian thing to say, I'll tell you after I'm elected. No, that's one of the things that people want to know before they vote for you. And it's disingenuous to withhold that information. We got the debate we deserve. And it's like a heroin addict denouncing opiates, because you've got it in your veins now, and everyone knows they want to see the Thriller in Manila, part 2.